next segment we'll talk about is the talking points. We'll look at the key items that have happened. So obviously, Man United versus Man City. First off, thoughts?
Yeah, probably a fair result. Bit of an error to allow Ibrahimovic to score.
But that's what you want in a striker.
Well,
he had a split second to
he's
make
a
a
poacher,
decision.
and it was actually a really good strike.
It was.
So
for a tall guy, he got up there and just smashed it straight away. He did not waste any time.
No.
Unfortunately, if it was Giroud, he would have perhaps tried to ground the ball and then have a shot at him, and at best he would have got a corner.
Yeah. No, it's a good result for City. They've been impressive. If they can keep getting results like that without Aguero, then
this is a bit of the Barca v Madrid with Guardiola and Jose Mourinho. So it does show that Pep seems to get the best of Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
On most occasions.
Well, it's a long way to go though, but yeah.
Oh, I'm just saying, coming back from the Spanish league, Liverpool.
Yeah, really good, really good, very happy. But
have you gone?
It's already been a roller coaster. I don't think.
Have you gone to your local TAB or punting place to back them for the season?
Nah, look, I'm still standing by
what
top four. I couldn't even tell you. Haven't even looked because I don't think it's on the cards. Look, I'm just going to hope they can put back-to-back solid performances together because they haven't been able to do that yet throughout the season. So, look, I'm not getting too far ahead of myself. As I said, it's a roller coaster being a Liverpool fan, and when we have good performances like that, I don't get too excited, and just like when we have the disappointing performances, I don't get too down about it because I know that there'll be a sort of a 4-1 performance around the corner.
Alright, well, Lukaku. Now Everton do seem to have reasonable fixtures coming through. He's finally broken the drought.
Yep.
Is it time to bring him in?
Oh, well, I mean, I've had him since the start. I absolutely, that's a lock for mine. Bring him in. Their schedule's relatively soft. And he's just hit form. I don't think it was just a sort of one-off performance. He's been there and done it. Scored many goals in the Premier League.
No doubt.
Now the team's starting to hit a bit of form behind him. That'll only lead to more chances for him.
I do think he's gonna do really well. He could. A lot of people might have brought him or Costa in for Aguero, which is the next bit I want to talk about. Now, a lot of people would have brought him or Costa in for Aguero.
Or Ibrahimovic if they didn't have him.
Assuming they had him. But the people who brought these guys, because Ibrahimovic is a mainstay now, everyone's going to keep him.
Yeah.
But if you had brought either Costa or Lukaku, you're going to be in a bit of a predicament because they both have reasonable fixtures coming forward. Everton's is much better. Do you bring in Aguero or do you keep Lukaku? Now, if Lukaku is giving you these points, do you not keep Lukaku?
That's the exact decision that I'll have to get to when Aguero returns. My first thought was, well, it's as simple as Lukaku's gone, bring in Aguero, and I've got the money in the transfer kitty ready to splash for it, and that's basically my exact decision will be between Lukaku and Aguero. I don't know if I'll bring in Aguero first week. Look, I'll have to have a look at some schedules that come up in about 3 weeks and then move from there. But I don't need to really think about it until it gets to the game week that Aguero is back. But before his suspension, it was a no-brainer. That was my exact move. Was that
that's the beauty of football. In 2 weeks, your whole planning has gone out the window.
And Aguero always sort of has these niggles, or there might be a big Champions League clash that comes up that he'll be saved for. They are your risks.
I think that's why it's really good to have a Chelsea striker this season.
Yeah, that's fair.
They don't have anything.
Yep.
Which
you had a Chelsea striker. Then you paid four points to get rid of him.
Well, I got rid of him on the same time, the same day, so.
Still cost you 4 points.
Yeah, it did. It was a planned 4 points, so I'll take that. Watford have scored in every single game this week.
Yeah.
With Man United up next on the cards, do you start Etienne Capoue? He has 3 goals and 1 assist.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not.
If he's the next Mahrez, surely you have to have him.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, it's a tough question that I've got to answer. And look, you as a manager of a fantasy team, you want to have options. And,
no doubt.
The fact that he is otherwise my bench player is awesome for me right now. So it's a coin flip for me. I think I'm leaning towards pushing him into that lineup, and hopefully Watford can beat United. It's always a good week when Liverpool win 4-1 and United drop points and my fantasy team scores 73 points.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think I think he's a must-have still at that increased price, because he's offering you.
He has to be a fourth midfield.
£9 million value at 4.8 or whatever it is.
His points per value is ridiculous.
Yeah, there's no better value prospect than what he's providing right now. Whether or not he can keep that going for a majority of the season is another thing. That's what Mahrez and Payet, they did that well last season, was consistency and total number of points were quite high.
Definitely, he's got the most points in the season.
Yeah.
I think it's time people acknowledge that and jump on. If he crashes, well, you could have made a little bit of money on him.
Yeah, well, that's right, and that was more so my point. Was for bringing him in was he's a cheap alternative. I got him at 4.7. There's no better options under sort of 6 at this point. So
yeah, I mean, I would happily take him at 4.8. So this week I may have to make another 2 transfers. So I'll take another
4 points.
Well, if I bring him in, it might really help with my team.
I always try and lean towards using points on transfers and try and do it over 2 weeks.
Definitely.
Rather than, they. I mean, look where I don't know what difference is in our league in terms of how many points how many points.
Well, that 4 points would make it huge.
Yeah, it's pretty tight in that little middle bunch there.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Well, with Everton's upcoming favourable fixtures we've talked about, Ross Barkley only played 45 minutes. And they won 3-0.
Yeah.
Has this manager not got faith in him?
Did he start?
Yeah.
Yeah. There'd have to be a reason behind that.
He has not come up with any injuries. He just was not having a good game.
Yeah,
and
right.
The manager took him out.
Yeah. Well, look, that's one thing you have to understand. That's typical of Ross Barkley.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He would have these performances, and then he would shy away, which happened this time. But with this manager, he said, "Well, performance is key."
Well, I said earlier in the season when you sort of were talking about Everton's schedule and the fact that you had Barkley, and I personally feel that there's certainly 2, 3, maybe 4 better options in that squad than
yeah, definitely. I think Leighton Baines and Lukaku come to my mind as being the better options. One gives you a clean sheet and the other can give you a lot of points. I think that's Ross Barkley is a question mark. I'm going to have to watch him this week.
Mm-hmm.
And if the same thing is happening, I'll have no option but to trade him out.
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne, is he on the rise?
Yeah, look, we touched on it before. I think I'm still scared of that price. I at that sort of premier price for a midfielder, I'm still leaning towards a Hazard or a Sanchez. But look, he's been good and he piles up the assists as well. So look, he's good, and I just don't know if you'll get the best value out of for every 12 points he'll give you, there'll be like a 2 or a 1. So you
just don't know if he'll have that consistency.
And it's 10.5.
If he does that for a few game weeks, then
look, he's still. I don't think I would be bringing him into my team just because of his price, and that may be incorrect, but I would. Is he about the same price as Hazard?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I every day.
Well, I mean, you do like to take a risk. You didn't have Sanchez. You didn't have Hazard.
Yeah.
In your team?
No, I didn't have either.
Yeah, exactly, and you still got the highest in our
Yeah.
league, so
yeah.
You really went for the differential option.
Yeah.
And it's paid dividends.
Mm-hmm.
The last one that I've left is for the smallest man in the Premier League, the shortest. Good old Santi Cazorla.
Yeah.
He's 7.6 million. He's stealing everything from Özil, and a lot of people brought in Özil and Sanchez.
Yeah. Yep.
And he sneaks in with the 94th minute goal.
Yeah, got them out of trouble.
But, yeah.
And he takes their pens, so I think he might be a sneaky get just for the fact that he takes the penalties. Arsenal are going to be good. He'll get the benefit of any clean sheets, albeit only a point.
Yeah.
And he steps up, and I mean, look, his ceiling's not high versus a lot of the other options, but at his price, I think he might be a good have. I'd be suggesting picking him up for sure. If you can't afford the Sanchez or the Ozil type, then he's very much a good choice at that price.
Exactly, and it's easier to rotate him. Because if you get someone like Sanchez, you have to stick with them because...
you've got no choice.
For example, I brought him in, obviously, with Aguero out and his performance the game week before, so I said, why not? But obviously it didn't work out for him. Now I have to keep him to get that attacking returns. If he doesn't, then obviously I would not have performed really well.
You said Martial, he's gone. You've moved on from that?
I've moved on from him just for now. I think he may come back.
Because that's one decision that, I'm moving on. And that will be the weighing up between a Hazard or a Sanchez type. And looking at schedules between sort of Arsenal and Chelsea. Chelsea have Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester, United in the next 5 games. So that alone will probably lean me towards a Sanchez or even an Ozil.
Well, the main reason for me getting rid of Martial was obviously they did have some difficult fixtures, and I had enough cap flexibility that I could end up with Sanchez and Aguero.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a big fan of his role at the moment, though. To be fair.
And I think it's a little deeper and wider than I'd like.
Yeah.
I think if he was up front a bit more, he would do well.
And I mean, Ibrahimovic up front, he continues to score goals, so I don't see that changing anytime soon.
And I think that's why I had to move. I honestly thought at the start of the season, Martial would do really well. So which is unfortunate.
So I'll be moving on as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think for now it's time to move on. There's a lot of great options, especially at the cheaper price range, which we just talked about earlier. So we'll move on to the next segment, Market Watch. Who do you think is the most transferring person?
I'd have to be the cheap guy.
Exactly. Capoue is, at this point, with a few days left before the game weekend starts, he's brought in by over 150,000 players and he's gone up by 0.1. The second person is Antonio, who incidentally has given the second most points in fantasy Premier League this season.
Yep.
At 31 points so far. Capoue has given 34. And he's already up 130k transfers. Kyle Walker obviously makes sense from Tottenham. Favourable fixtures, interesting fixtures rather coming through. Over 100k brought him in. He's had a price increase. Costa keeps going up.
Yeah.
He's got 85k.
And that's probably just a complete straight swap for the guys that have had Aguero and looking for that higher price striker.
Lukaku has only been brought out by 60,000. I would have thought Lukaku would be top 3 at this point. Understandably, he did have a late start because their game was lost. So perhaps in the next few days he will be. He'll be up there. But I think Capoue will be the highest. The top 5 people who've been transferred out have not even experienced a decrease in price yet. So it's Aguero now.
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised. I think people who should have got rid of him the week earlier. Why would you have kept him for another game?
That makes no sense unless they haven't followed the week, or I don't know.
Some people.
That's a mistake. How many people?
83,000.
83,000 made mistakes.
Yeah, and I think it's going to go up. I'm sure if I relook at the stats right now, it would have gone up. Coutinho makes sense.
Yeah.
Liverpool scored 4 points and he didn't contribute.
Yeah,
so.
That's why for me, Firmino's even when he hasn't scored that many points, his performance has been pretty solid. He's been there or thereabouts in terms of creating chances. So and I think Firmino is probably about $1 million cheaper.
Yeah, definitely.
About.
Just next person that I'm a bit surprised is Negredo. Look, I don't know why people are moving on from him. He's a cheap third defender. surely you keep him and he'll give you your goals. I do think.
Striker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think Middlesbrough will be fine.
Yeah, like I mean,
Middlesbrough
what is
goals.
it? 2 games without a goal. It's
You
not.
didn't bring him in to be captain material game out. So that I'm not too sure about.
Most people have him as their sort of first guy off the bench as well. Whereas
some people go with 2 strikers. If you go with 3 strikers, he's there. So that's interesting.
That's actually my decision on Capoue and Negredo on who'll be moving into the starting lineup this weekend. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it's a good option to have, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mahrez makes sense. I think people have seen him for 4 game weeks.
Yeah.
He scored in the first game week, then he's gone on to miss a penalty. And at times he's looked a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's defensive midfielders getting onto him quicker, denying him ball, or denying his passes. So there's been a few things happening. He seems to be in a bit of a slump, and Leicester definitely need him.
Yeah.
So especially they've got an interesting game this week as well. So he's gone out 50k so far, maybe more. A lot of people brought in Pogba, the world's most expensive player.
Yeah.
He's played well in patches, but from a fantasy perspective, he hasn't given anything.
No.
So
and I was always sort of my view on it was let's wait and see. He was always a wait and see type. I know a lot of people brought him in as the $100 million man and so forth, but I think his role within that side isn't so much set up for huge fantasy numbers.
I don't think he's exactly. 1, he's not set up for fantasy numbers. 2, it's not set up for him to be the go-to guy. He's not that top
Why
player.
you pay 100 million plus for someone that's not going to be your go-to guy is another question.
And you just wanted to make a splash.
Yeah.
Did they need to spend that much money? Probably not.
But
They could have got him for the same amount next year and he could have matured more. But look, a lot can happen.
Yeah.
He may end up being one of the best players by the end of the season, but at this point I think it's a huge wait and see. I would not touch him. I think there's better options. Rooney has himself been playing quite well. The defenders are doing really well. So there's a lot of other options.
There's a lot of options at the same sort of price point. So I mean, 8.5 is not cheap. It's not like he's a 6.5 where you can sit him and be patient.
Exactly.
You need points, and
I think he's priced fairly, but you have to take the risk. And at 8.5, I'm not going to. It's as simple as that. All right, so we'll move on to the next segment where